Warning: the following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on the show are reflective of AJ Orsini and his guests exclusively. But seriously, guys, the show's called Uncensored. If you got a problem with bad language, I really don't give a shit.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is your boy, your main man, AJ Orsini, and I am your host of Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and I am here with episode 58. I bequeath unto all of you episode 58. Now, if you listened to last week's episode, which you should have, you really should listen to the continuation here. Everything here is canon. I suggest you go back to episode 1 and literally download every single episode so you can follow along what's been going on here. If you listened last week, I had a plan. I had a plan on the table here. Everything was mapped out. Pretty much every episode since the 1-year anniversary, everything's been kind of mapped out. I got a general plan and idea of what I want to do with this show along the way. And I had a plan. Now, the plan was this Sunday, live on the WWE Network, we are presenting, not we, I don't work for the company, but there is a presentation taking place, the first ever WWE all-women's pay-per-view, Evolution, taking place this Sunday in my neck of the woods here, Long Island, New York, live on the WWE Network. That's taking place, so I had decided to sit down with some lovely ladies and do something a little different, and we had a Evolution roundtable discussion. It was supposed to be an all-women's ladies' night situation. I had some cancellations, so I was an alternate on my own show. I ended up sitting in anyway, but it is predominantly women. How about that? The predominantly women roundtable for Evolution that was going to happen tonight. Here on the podcast, it was supposed to be episode 58. That was the plan. I wanted to do something special for Evolution because to me it's a very special show. So the plan was I was going to do that roundtable, and that's what was going to air. Now, good news, bad news. Good news is I did get a chance to film or record, I should say, that roundtable. I had a cancellation, like I said, so I was kind of the alternate there. So I am on the show, which was not the original plan. I was going to have an all-women show here, but I am on the show. I am contributing as a guest on my own show, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a good podcast, and women's wrestling was discussed up the wazoo. You will still get to hear that episode. I will be releasing that episode this Sunday, the day of the pay-per-view, at noon, which is the usual time I release my roundtables. That's usually the time in which I put those out. I put them out there so you guys can listen to it, get hyped up for the show, and all that good stuff. It does not ruin the flow of the Wednesdays. I have a episode that you're hearing right now, obviously, is for this Wednesday, and I'll have a new episode next Wednesday. So the roundtable is kind of like a special in between. So I had a plan. As plans would be, plans change. If you are a member of the wrestling community in any way, a performer, a fan, a promoter, whatever the case may be, Monday Night Raw shocked a lot of people, caused a lot of discussion, both good and bad. And this information has been sweeping all over the internet, it's sweeping all over the community, and of course, that was something that everyone is discussing, so I had this feeling in my gut that whatever we did for Evolution was just going to get drowned out because the topic of discussion is a far more serious one than some wrestling show. It's bigger than Evolution. It's bigger than any wrestling show you can think of. It's the trials and tribulations of a locker room leader here who's going through some stuff. So I decided, instead of doing the Evolution roundtable tonight, I will be saving that for the Evolution pay-per-view. That way it fits more in time with what's going on. So I decided to do something else. I didn't leave time open this week to do an episode because I already wrapped one up. So, I am literally doing this spur of the moment. This is all coming right after SmackDown. I'm recording this late Tuesday night because I will not have the chance to do this tomorrow. I have a midterm tomorrow, so I will not be able to do anything show related tomorrow. So, I am not going to waste anybody's time. I'm already 4 minutes in. I'm already in longer than I thought it was going to be. So, I'm not going to waste anybody's time. I'm breaking tradition here. I am not going to let you wait any further. We're going to go ahead and hit the top news story right now.
And now back to Action News 5. Our top story tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Yes, well, that's probably in poor taste now that I think about it. It's not a horrifying news story. It could be for some. For some of you, you might be reliving some horrific memories. For those of you who did not pay attention to Monday Night Raw this week, and I know most of you don't, which is a sad, sad thing, which is why we're going to talk about it. This is going to be a pretty Monday Night Raw heavy show. So if you did not get a chance to see Monday Night Raw, this is your chance right now to pause this sumbitch, go check it out, and then come back and engage in this conversation, because I think everyone needs to engage in this conversation at some point. So, on Monday Night Raw, we opened the show with Roman Reigns, the WWE Universal Champion. I know sometimes we forget because we hardly ever see the belt anymore, but he is the WWE Universal Champion. There were some rumors leading up to Raw that Roman had suffered or sustained some sort of injury that would be taking him out of action for an undisclosed amount of time. There was a lot of, the rumor mill was going around, a lot of rigmarole about what was actually taking place. Everyone was posting all kinds of information, some faulty, some not so much. No one saw this coming. It's not even an injury per se, it's the return of a sickness. Apparently, Roman Reigns, and yes, he used his real name in the ring, but that was to get you to identify with him as a person, so not so much the character. That is not permission to refer to this man as his real name. You know him as Roman, so you should probably continue to call him Roman. In this case, although I do know the family, and I have reached out to the family to send out my support to them as well, I do not know him like that. So he is Roman Reigns for the remainder of this conversation. I know a lot of people have been taking liberties with that. I stick to my rule. I don't know him as Joe, so I will not be referring to him as such. He is Roman Reigns for the remainder of this conversation. So Roman Reigns is dealing with leukemia. It is a form of cancer that apparently he was diagnosed with back when he was 22. This was he said about 11 years ago. So doing the math now, he's about 33. The man's in his physical prime right now. And the cancer, apparently he was diagnosed when he was 22. He went through treatment back then, and he beat it. He beat it. The cancer went into remission. And that was a long time ago. And he got himself back into shape, and he pursued his dream in professional wrestling, and the rest is history. He's one of the best performers in the world today. I know that there are a lot of people who are sour on the gimmick, and we'll get to all that in a second, but let's deal with the serious tone of the conversation first before we start breaking down all that other bullshit. So, leukemia, first and foremost. Let's talk about that for just a second. Again, if you've been through this before, if you've had family members that have passed away from cancer, you know all about this. I apologize for going down this road right now, but there are a lot of people like myself who have not had experience dealing with this with family members. I have, to my knowledge, I have only really had one family member that has passed away as a result of cancer. It was my mother's cousin. And when she passed away, I wasn't really nearly old enough to really digest what was going on. I just remember my family being devastated. As a matter of fact, that cousin who passed away, her name was Lily. And as a tip of the cap, I guess, a way to memorialize her, my mom, who was pregnant at the time of her passing, was pregnant with my sister, and my sister's name is Lily. They gave her the cousin's name. And she had passed away. I'm not entirely sure which variation of cancer she had. Again, I was very young at the time. And I do know that she received that cancer due to secondhand smoke. So it wasn't anything genetic or anything crazy she had. Now that I'm thinking about it, it had to have been lung cancer. Now that I'm thinking about it. secondhand smoke. Again, I'm putting pieces together. But so again, I apologize if you've been through this. If you're listening to my podcast and you've been through this experience before, I apologize for going down this road. But I need to go down this road because there's a lot of people out there who either have not experienced it or just in general need to know the information because people talk like they know when they really don't. So here are the cold hard facts. I went looking around, tried to find some things. I stumbled upon a news article, a medical article, excuse me. MedicalNewsToday.com has an article up about leukemia cancer, and it's very digestible, which is why I think I like this one the best. I'm going to go ahead and go with this. It's written here, leukemia is a cancer of the blood or bone marrow. Bone marrow produces blood cells. Leukemia can happen when there is a problem with the production of blood cells. It usually affects the leukocytes or white blood cells. Now, white blood cells protect you from infection. Those are very important to the body, okay? So his body, okay, the cancer in the blood is damaging the parts that keep him from getting sick, which means his body's becoming very vulnerable to sicknesses and diseases. And it can open you up to a lot of shit. It is most likely to affect people over the age of 55, but it is also most common cancer in those under the age of 15. Now, if you listen to Roman says that he got diagnosed with it originally around the age of 22. So he falls just outside of that usual target age. It says here, although the article was written in 2017, so that's a statistic for that, so I'm not going to read that. But acute leukemia develops quickly and worsens rapidly, but chronic leukemia gets worse over time. I'm not entirely sure he had chronic, because he said that it happened around the age of 22, and he had beaten it, and we haven't heard dick about it ever since. So I don't think it was chronic. I don't know his medical history. Here's the part that everyone needs to know. Is it treatable? And the answer is yes. Treatment is very much available for it. It's one of the rare cancers that has made a tremendous amount of progress over the years. It's written here. Again, I'll put the link in with the description for you to follow along and read up on yourself. But it says... treatment. There are various types of leukemia and they affect people differently. Treatment options will depend on the type of leukemia and the person's age and overall state of health. Well, with his age, 33, and his state of health, obviously he's an Adonis. So, with the exception of a few bad eating habits and maybe some smoking habits, he should be a pillar of health there. Progress in medicine means that treatment can now aim for complete remission, which is where he had it before, where the cancer goes away completely for at least 5 years after treatment. Now, I don't know, again, exactly what his history was with that. We're just learning now that he even had it. But I'm assuming he got a lot more than 5 years out of that treatment, which is a good sign, because if he got more than 5 years at that time, I know with age, the body heals a little differently. That should be a really good sign, especially if he got any amount of years cancer-free is a good amount of years. So if he can at least get 5, that would be awesome. In 1975, the chances of surviving for 5 years or more after receiving a diagnosis of leukemia were 33.1%. By 2009, this figure had risen to 62.9. So for those of you who are out here just aimlessly giving where I hope you get better, luckily for you, the science backs your claim here. He has a very good chance. The main type of treatment is chemotherapy. This will be tailored to the type of cancer a patient has. If treatment starts early, the chance of remission is higher. Types of treatment include targeted therapy, interferon therapy, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgery, and a stem cell transplantation. I can tell you now, stem cell is last on this list because it's the most rare and the most difficult to attain. Now, he's sitting pretty now. He said in the ring, it was a rough time for him at that time, not just simply because he had cancer, but because he was 22 years old. This guy was young, out of work, insurance problems. He probably had a whole bunch of those. You got to get on lists and waiting lists and see this doctor and this specialist, and you have to go through this and that. If he was able to survive this disease at that time, as compared to the position he's at now, where financially he's in a much better place, and I'm sure that the WWE is going to help him in any way they can to make sure he gets healthy and back on his feet, I think he's going to be in a good spot. I'm telling you all this just so you know what it is and to make some of you feel a little better, because I think a lot of people hear the word cancer And it gets them so nervous because they know enough to be scared, but they don't know enough to really believe when they say, well, I hope you get better. I think sometimes that's empty. People just say that because they feel, well, what else am I supposed to say? You know, when you find out somebody has cancer, especially when the person first finds out they have cancer. 99.9% of the times when a person finds out they have cancer, the true, real symptoms of it don't really showcase right off the back. So sometimes you'll hear, hey, by the way, you have cancer. And now you have to tell your family, oh, listen, guys, I was just diagnosed with cancer. It's not until the chemo hits, until the disease degenerates into other things, when the body starts to break down, and then you start to see it. So people initially, don't really know how to handle it. If there's anybody out there right now listening to this show who's experienced this, with somebody, a family member, a friend, a coworker, anybody who's had this happen to them and they've come to you, how did you react? I'd like to know. Because I've never really been in that situation before. Like I said, the one instance, I was too young. I don't think I was even told anything. If it wasn't for me overhearing the adults discussing it, I probably wouldn't even know to this day. I've had a lot of friends incarcerated, or actually, I've had a few friends die that are very close to me, and they've all died either for ridiculous reasons, meaning they got into their own shit, or for accidents or situations like that. I'm going to be honest with you, I've never had anyone in my life die specifically because of the disease known as cancer, or any variation of it, really, to be honest with you. Cancer was a fear of mine for a long time. I used to be a very heavy smoker, and I used to fear the idea of getting sick and all that other stuff. And I think I've told the story on this show before. My stepfather had a heart attack. He was a very heavy smoker. He had a heart attack, and it ruined him. He didn't survive it very well. Went into a vegetative state, and eventually he passed from his from symptoms of that heart attack, and it just scared the shit out of me. And I put that box away immediately, and I've never really fucked with it ever since. A few here and there I dabble. A nice cigarette before you go out there and entertain before a crowd of people usually tends to calm the nerve a bit. But other than that, I kind of stayed away from it. So I've done what I can, I guess. I've tried to take care of my body in somewhat, and everyone tries. So when you hear something like this, you look at a guy like Roman Reigns. He's a Greek god. He obviously takes care of his body. He obviously trains. He obviously invests in what he puts into his body. And for the cancer to come back, it's a very scary situation. I know that he's got a wife. I know he has kids. I know he has a lot of respect around the world from competitors. You can debate the fan thing all you want, and we will in a second. Believe me, we will discuss that shit in a second. But the fact is, and this is a fact, this is an opinion, he's got a lot of respect in this industry. Yes, he was pushed very early and pushed very hard. But he worked very early, and he worked very hard, and he got a lot of what he deserved. And there's a lot of people who not only just know him as a person, but know him as the professional, and will tell you he's earned a lot of what he's gotten. Okay, he did not just sit there and coast. This guy puts in work, and there's a lot of people. And if you're listening to this now, that means it's Wednesday. By now, in the past 2 days, you've seen enough on social media to prove that theory. Okay, I mean, companies from all around the world have shelled out their, I don't say condolences, and I don't want to say thoughts and prayers, because that's like the Smith and Muhammad of comments to make after bad situations. But definitely their support on his new quest, his new journey. I'm getting healthy again. And they've definitely supported him. Other companies, other wrestlers from other companies, other promoters, fans from across the world. The outpouring for Roman Reigns right now has been absolutely amazing. And it's deservedly so, because here's a guy who has taken the good and the bad of this business literally on the chin on a daily basis. And he still came out on Monday and thanked every single person for being a part of the journey. That's a guy who's humble. That's a guy who understands his situation and understands his place in this business. And not for nothing, you can tell how invested the WWE is on Roman Reigns, because that entire Raw was flipped completely upside down. They did things on that Monday Night Raw that I'm telling you right now, I have watched every single episode of Raw. Every single one from episode 1 to 2 nights ago. I have seen every single one. And I will tell you, I have never seen as systematic a turnaround as I did on Monday. Almost every segment on that show was a complete rehaul and overdue from whatever it was they had fucking planned for literally everything. We had baby face turns, we had heel turns, we had a complete diversion of storylines, we had characters interacting who don't normally interact. It was weird. It was almost as if when they got the notice that Roman was going to have to take time off to deal with his illness, they just had an emergency meeting and threw a bunch of ideas into a fucking bucket and just started pulling out cards, and that's what they wrote in the segments, and that was it. It was so crazy. I haven't sat through a Monday Night Raw from beginning to end, from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the extra time. I have not sat through minute by minute, no fast forwarding on my DVR in a long, long time. I did not this past Monday because I just needed to see how all of this fucking unfolded. This Monday Night Raw was insane. They turned people like it was fucking nothing. You can literally see the dominoes fall. The top guy moved out of place, so now we have to replace him here, and this person goes here, and now we need a new heel here, and everything shifted. The entire infrastructure of Monday Night Raw had to be twisted around simply because one piece had to be taken out. That is how much faith they have in Roman Reigns. That entire show was based around him. And I'm speaking in generalities. So let's talk a little bit about the show real quick. And don't lose track of the idea that I'm not done speaking on the Roman Reigns situation. I'm definitely not done with that. But I absolutely need to break this down really quickly. So we open up Monday Night Raw with Roman Reigns coming out in, I want to say street attire, but he wasn't geared up, all right? He had the slacks and the basic tee. When I saw that, right off the bat, when I saw him come out with regular clothes, after everything we heard about injury and this and that, I thought to myself, this is going to be interesting. I'm dying to hear what he has to say. Very rarely am I ever dying to hear what Roman Reigns has to say. But this particular moment, I could just see it on his face. See, this guy had the wheels turning already walking down the aisle when he was taking in the audience. Everything was leading toward leaving, man. He's soaking it in. He's looking around. He's doing the whole emotional deal. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be crazy. So he does the whole promo. He's got leukemia. He's got to go home and all that stuff. He starts walking up the ramp. Here comes Seth and Dean. Seth's bawling his eyes out. Dean's holding it together. Man's man. Real men don't shed tears. His eyes are glassy. He's got the drip drops going. Waterworks is starting to work there. But Dean's holding it together. Seth can't control his feelings. He's sobbing like a schoolboy. All this emotion. They do the big hug. And they do the big fist bump at the end. The whole Shield deal. Nice stuff. I mean, Seth's face sold the whole fucking thing. What an emotional moment. And it was at that moment. It was such an emotional moment. I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh, yes. The heel turn's coming tonight. Has to be. Has to be. It was my first fucking thought. I'm thinking in my head, man, because you could tell every week they've been building every week. That's why people were like, "Oh, this whole heel turn was just so thrown together." No, baby, this has been building for a long time. Every week was another reason, and another reason, and another reason. Coming back and Dean takes the fall. Coming back and Dean gets eliminated from the World Cup. The other two guys have belts, but he doesn't. The only two times that he's been injured is with the Shield. I have laid this out for weeks, and I'm telling you, I've been saying it for a long time. He should have never been in the Shield in the first place, but that was their idea, to put him in the Shield, to gain that sympathy back, and then cut it. So, as soon as I saw this emotional moment on the screen, this has to be it, which was a part of the reason why I stayed on Raw, because I'm like, yes, any minute it's gonna fucking happen now. So that's why I stayed originally. All right, so the next segment here is Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley. It's a thing. It happened. We're moving on. After this, we come back. Ziggler and McIntyre are doing a bunch of shit in the back. I have it written down here, all this different stuff. They're doing all these different promos. They announced They announced the Riot Squad against Bayley, Sasha, and Natalya. Really wish they had mentioned that matchup before we did the roundtable. We did not discuss that on the roundtable because it was not a match that was announced before the roundtable. So there goes that. Ruby Riott and Sasha Banks have a match inside the ring. It was nice to see Sasha Banks back doing her thing. We come back from commercial. We're doing the whole DX thing, which I refuse to fucking talk about anymore. I'm done. I'm not giving DX or the Brothers of Destruction any more fucking publicity than they need to. I'm over it. I'm done. I grew up with them. I've watched them my entire life. I will always be fans of theirs. I love DX. I love The Undertaker. I love Kane. I'm over it. I'm done. They will never move on, but I am. So I'm moving on here. You want to see the segment? Go back and watch Raw and watch the segment. I refuse to fucking talk about it because I don't give a shit. Commentary tosses back, and we do the Roman thing again. They replayed that fucking Roman thing a bunch of times, and the whole time you're thinking, well, what's going to happen with Crown Jewel? Well, at this point, that's when they gave us the old bogus, well, we've been on the phone with Stephanie McMahon all day. Bullshit. Anywho, what they came up with was genius. Roman can't wrestle. They're going to pull him out, and it's down to just Strowman and Lesnar. And I'm thinking to myself, man, Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar and Saudi Arabia and Crown Jewel here. Heel versus heel. Who's walking away with this? Well, as soon as I said that, out comes Paul Heyman to cut a promo about Crown Jewel. And Lord and behold, here comes Braun Strowman. And it's babyface Braun Strowman doing the whole get these hands deal and yada yada. He's got the crowd behind him again. I don't think he ever lost them, to be honest with you. But now they're intentionally keeping him big. They went back to babyface for Braun Strowman because, well, top babyface is down. We need a new babyface. And while we're at it, since the new babyface is gone and we're replacing the old babyface with his own heel, we made the heel babyface. We need a new heel. Well, out comes the Scottish psychopath, or I don't know, what were they calling him before? The Scottish Colossus, or whatever the fuck his name is. Drew McIntyre comes out. Big Claymore kick. He pisses off Braun Strowman further. We've got a babyface heel dynamic working here. It is awesome. Video package for Alexa Bliss and Mickie James and Lita and Trish. You can hear all about that on the roundtable. This was the go-home show for Evolution, so they finally got off their ass and attempted to do some promotion for it. But nobody's really paying attention because all the focus was on Roman Reigns, so go figure that. All right. McIntyre and Ziggler do more promo work in the back. They get entirely too much promo. Less is more with McIntyre and Ziggler. They can cut a decent promo in 60 seconds. I don't need 5-minute diatribes from them. It's not their strong suit. So speaking of more flipping around, we head over to the ring with Elias, who can't seem to get his fucking song out every week. Pretty okay match with Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is just kind of floating through this shit. He's just kind of floating through as Apollo Crews. Super talented, about as charismatic as a dry sponge. And it shows every single time. Super athletic. The guy is a beast inside that ring. His professional wrestling abilities and his skills is unmatched. He's a complete package player, is Apollo Crews. But not much aside from that. So Elias gets the win here. It beat him clean with Drift Away, a move he hasn't used in a while. And when the match was over, they played a song I haven't heard in a while. So I started thinking to myself, dude, what's with the clean wins and the music all of a sudden? Well, more of Bizarro Land shit. Out comes Baron Corbin after the commercial break to interrupt Elias, and Elias gets a babyface turn. All right, we needed a new babyface. Now we got two babyfaces now. We'll see how that works itself out. We come back, we do the contract signing with the Bellas and Ronda Rousey. I got to be honest with you. I'm digging it. I'm digging it so far. Nikki's portraying a pretty good heel here. I love the fact that Brie is just like a person. Like she's just there. I mean, they both attacked Ronda, but Nikki gets the title shot. Nikki's been shooting all the promos. Brie's just kind of there. Brie's not even in a match at Evolution, which means to tell me that she will be ringside with her sister. And they degrade Ronda. They slap Ronda around. She does the whole deal with the fucking sadistic smile. And, oh boy, she is going to beat her ass at Evolution. I can't wait. I just want to see her get tossed the fuck around, to be honest with you. I just want to see her get tossed the fuck around. Dana Brooke, Ember Moon versus, it was a four-way, excuse me. Dana Brooke versus Ember Moon versus Nia Jax versus Tamina. They gave you a hint of the Battle Royal, a Battle Royal that, in my opinion, should not even be taking place. But fuck it, everyone wants to get on the card, right? So let's get everybody on the card. They did this whole Susan G. Komen stuff. I'm going to get to that in a second, too. I know I'm holding off on a lot of shit. But after everything that just went down with Roman Reigns, to do the Susan G. Komen thing was a little odd, which is another question that I have. You know, Roman Reigns apparently had leukemia 11 years ago. This is the first time we're hearing about it. They have done cancer commercials for fucking years. I haven't seen Roman Reigns in the front end of that at all. I get it. You don't want to bring any attention to it, but at the same time, like, you'd think that would be a natural fit. Your top guy is a cancer survivor. And here you are parading cancer survivors around. You'd think that's a natural fit, but, you know, I guess they kept that one to themselves. But now we get to our main event. Let's talk about our main event, shall we? Dogs of War, which I don't even know why they're called that. He made one fucking comment. But people are still listing him as Dogs of War. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions, defending against The Shield, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. I'm not going to get into the match. You want to watch the match? You go to Raw. I will tell you how it ends. We need to discuss how it ends. Much like a popular television show says all the time, winter is coming. I don't know what show that is because I'm not up on my pop culture, but I will tell you this, winter is indeed coming, and winter gets chilly. You know how you can counteract chilly? You know how you can counteract cold? Clothing. That's right, the more clothing you have on, the better a chance you have of surviving those frigid temperatures. You know what the color of this particular winter is? Gray. You didn't know that? I don't know what it really is either, but I can tell you it's gray because it fits into my agenda. And my agenda is to let you guys know that you can fight those frigid temperatures by wearing the Orsini's Uncensored Mind official t-shirt. It's a sports gray, it's very needed, it's very nice. You guys can get that by going to prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM. The Shield win. They win by defeating the Dogs of War for the Tag Team Championships. They beat them. They win the Tag Team Championship. They celebrate. Seth's got 2 belts now. The Tag Titles and the Intercontinental Championship. You'd think by now this guy... On paper, this Raw was amazing for Seth Rollins. He's the Intercontinental Champion. He didn't have to defend his belts. Matter of fact, he received a title match for another belt and won. So he's got 2 belts now. And at this moment, if you take away the Roman Reigns, forfeiting the belt, that would put Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion, Seth Rollins as the Intercontinental Champion, and Dean and Seth as the Tag Champions. Shield would have had all the belts on Raw all to themselves. But, like I said, Roman released his hold on the championship earlier that night, and the ending for the Shield match was Ambrose kicking Rollins in the fucking stomach and hitting his ass with dirty motherfucking deeds right in the middle of the goddamn ring. Now, let's have a real discussion, shall we? All fucking night, Monday. All fucking day, Tuesday. And as I record this, it is very late into Tuesday night. And people are still pissed that they did the heel turn for Dean Ambrose on the same night that Roman Reigns announced he had a tremendous uphill battle and a tremendous journey ahead of him as he tries to overcome his cancer situation. They turn Dean Ambrose heel. Now, let's throw in just a few facts before we get into this reaction, this overreaction by people. Just a few facts. There is absolutely no connection to what Dean did to Seth and Roman Reigns. I want to repeat that so you follow where I'm going with this. There is no connection from Dean Ambrose to Roman Reigns based on what Dean did to Seth. No connection. As far as the story goes, Dean has got no problem with Roman Reigns. He gave him the big fist bump. He had the whole teary-eyed reaction. For all we know, for all intents and purposes, he still loves Roman. His problem lied with Seth Rollins. And for all of you people out there who are saying to yourselves, well, it's fucked up that they had to do this heel turn amongst Roman's brothers on the very night that Roman announces he has cancer and he needs to leave the business. Well, here's the kayfabe reason and here's the business reason. The kayfabe reason is very, very simple. If you're Dean Ambrose and you're pissed off with Seth Rollins, why the fuck would you not attack him at his most vulnerable? Seth said it himself. The emotions are crazy. He will never be more vulnerable than he is right there. Not only did Seth not see that kick coming, neither did the rest of you. That's the perfect time. If you're going to betray someone, you don't want to betray them when they see it fucking coming. You want to get them at their most vulnerable, and that was clearly the most vulnerable Seth Rollins will ever be. And it worked out great. He beat the shit out of him. Plan, well executed. Mission accomplished. Achievement unlocked. Did it have the same sting from when Seth betrayed the Shield all those years ago? No. No, it didn't. But that was, Seth's turn was truly an unforeseen turn. No one saw that happening. Dean, we all saw it happening. We just didn't know when. And that's everyone's problem. The when. Everyone agrees that he was going to turn heel. Everyone agrees he should turn heel. Everyone's problem just seems to be the time they chose it. So I gave you the kayfabe version. Here's the business version. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of you are not going to want to hear this. But here's the truth. You'd have to be a fucking idiot not to do the heel turn on that night. I mean, You'd have to be a full-time fucking idiot to not realize something that was gifted to you in this exact moment. And I don't mean gifted because Roman Reigns' sickness is some sort of fucking reward. I mean, you got backed into a corner because of an unfortunate situation. The plan that you executed was the plan all along. All you did was expedite it. That's why people who say, well, that whole heel turn was rushed. After all that build-up, they rushed it. Yes, I will concede that. They did rush it because they didn't know that he was going to go to the doctor and get this whole thing changed around like this. They didn't know that the whole cancer thing was going to come up and he'd have to leave immediately. That was not part of the fucking plan, from what I understand. This was supposed to really drag out. We were looking at a possible triple threat main event at WrestleMania here. This was supposed to go on for a while and build and build and build and build and eventually build toward a big-time match going into WrestleMania here in New Jersey. Well, not here in New Jersey. I'm not in New Jersey. But WrestleMania is going to be in my neck of the woods over here up in northern New Jersey here. And that was going to be a big predominant match from what I understand. That's now out of the picture, obviously. Even if Roman does get healthy by WrestleMania, there's no sense in rushing him back into the ring. For all intents and purposes, we may not see Roman for a full year. Even if he does, I mean, that's best case scenario, a full year. That's best case. Because even if he does get a clean bill of health, he still needs to be cleared to perform. And from what I can understand about how this works about degenerative diseases, the work, what he does for a living, might have been what exasperated it. 33, you're not 22 anymore. Your body's not as quick as it once was. So to go back to the point here about Dean Ambrose, on a business level, I got thrown words like cheap heat. It was cheap heat, which I've never understood that fucking phrase at all. I don't get it. Did I get heat or did I not get heat? It's like a preheated oven. There's only two settings an oven can be on. Heated or unheated. Preheated is a millionth fucking term. It's the same thing with cheap heat. Oh, it's cheap heat. Okay. Did he get heat? That's key here. Okay? Cheap heat. It was cheap heat. They didn't need to do that. No. They didn't need to do that. But just because you didn't need to do that doesn't mean that it didn't work out good or for the better. You know? I could make a ham and cheese sandwich with only 2 slices of ham and 1 cheese. A third piece of ham is not going to... I don't need a third piece of ham. But if I added it on, it just might make the sandwich better. Me personally, I wouldn't do that. I'm a 2-to-1 ratio guy. But I'm just making a point here. Just because something's not needed does not necessarily mean that it's not going to make something good. Okay? They were building towards a heel turn. Everyone knows that. But Dean is loved. He's beloved in some audiences. And he hasn't exactly done it being a traditional babyface either. He's kind of already a heel when you think about some of the stuff that he's done. He just did it laughingly and jokingly, so it came off like a babyface thing. So if he attacks Seth next week, it officially is a heel turn, but you guys are going to cheer it. That's why you were really pissed off. They took away an opportunity for you to cheer for something you wanted. It's Becky Lynch all over again. You want to know why they really did it during the night that Roman made his announcement? It's the Becky Lynch situation. They need a heel. Not a heel that people like. They need a heel. And what Dean did was a dickhead thing. Thus, you hated him for it. They booed his ass unmercifully when he turned heel. And he had all you fucking people bitching about it all fucking day. So, mission accomplished. You don't like the... Well, I don't like this, but that doesn't make any sense. I don't dislike Dean Ambrose. I dislike the writing. Okay, well, who are they writing for? They're writing for Dean Ambrose. The same writers that you're hating also write for characters that you like. The same writers that write for Dean are writing for Seth. The same writers that are writing for Dean are writing for Braun. It's the same people. So you don't really hate the writers. You just hate what the writers did with Dean. Thus, hating the situation that Dean is in. Yes, in this day and age, it's hard for a heel to get legit heat on just them because everyone thinks that they're in the business and they don't hate the wrestler, they hate the booking. Okay, but the wrestler is the one being booked. You didn't hate the situation that the writers put Elias in. You cheered. You didn't hate the position that the writers put Braun Strowman in. You cheered. You didn't hate the situation that Seth was in leading up to that matchup. You cheered. You booed when Dean attacked Seth. That's heel heat. That's the mission. They accomplished the mission. You don't like the way they did it. That's fine. That's exactly what we want. We don't want you to like the way that he did it. We don't want you to like the time he chose in which to do it. And like I said on social media, had this turn taken place, I don't know, what's 2018, so 20 years ago, Attitude Era, Dean would have been beating up Seth, Roman would have came out to try to break it up. Come on, guys, not tonight. Not after everything we just went through. And then Dean would have dropped Roman, bam, right on the concrete floor, DDT. You know how much heat that shit would have got? That's how we rolled back in the day, baby. We don't fucking sit here and baby glove people. We take cancer patients and we drop them on their head. That's what would have happened back in the day. We can't do that now. But see, that's the difference between now and then. That's why when people say, oh, I need the Attitude Era back. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you really don't want the shit that we used to do back in the day. You really don't. That was one of the negatives about the Attitude Era. What you saw on Monday Night Raw was a shitty thing. Those shitty things used to happen every week in the Attitude Era. Every week was another thing that just shocked you or ripped at your morality or fucked with your head. It made you think. It made you feel. All the time, every week. And what happened is that when you, like, who said the analogy? Monday Night Raw was like the guy getting shot out of the cannon. You know, there's only but so many times the guy gets shot out of the cannon before eventually it's just some guy flying in the air being shot out of the cannon. No one cares anymore. You become desensitized. So when Attitude Era fans like myself see that heel turn, it makes complete sense to us. As a matter of fact, it's almost nostalgic. So that's what we used to get back in the day. That's how a heel turn is supposed to look. But the New Age fans, they didn't grow up with that. They didn't grow up with that. They didn't get wild and crazy fucking storylines every fucking night. The WWE had to pull back because you weren't feeling anymore. Everybody who tweeted, everybody who commented last night about how disgusting Dean Ambrose's actions were, he waited until this night. Again, I will remind you, he never connected Roman Reigns to anything that he did. Everything he did was directed directly at Seth. It just so happens it happened on the same night, so people are drawing connection, which is fine because that's what they wanted. But he never actually dragged Roman into it. He never actually did that. Whereas back in the day, come on, man, this is a random Monday for us. A random Monday. You guys didn't grow up with that, so you're not desensitized. When you see crazy shit, it fucks with you. You're saying to yourself, man, that's too fucking far. You want to hear too fucking far? I remember when I was a kid, I'm watching Monday Night Raw, okay? And upcoming, a pay-per-view that's upcoming, it's supposed to be Cactus Jack, Chainsaw Charlie, otherwise known as Terry Funk, against the New Age Outlaws, okay? And for those of you who've seen this Raw, you know where I'm headed with this. And the New Age Outlaws jumped Jack and Terry. They jumped them. They surprised them, right? And they threw them into a dumpster. And they took the dumpster and they pushed it off the stage and the fucking dumpster fell off. Now, today's stage is what? A foot off the ground? 2 feet maybe at the most? and there's like a bunch of foam shit at the bottom. Not in the back in the day, baby. That shit was like an 8-foot drop to the motherfucking floor, and it was just straight up concrete. Now inside the dumpster, you can see the peanuts, the packing peanuts and shit coming out. But at the same time, it was a drop. We didn't know any better at that time. As far as we were concerned, they just dropped these two dudes right off the fucking stage and basically tried to kill them. And everyone sold it beautifully too. Officials came out, medical personnel came out, other wrestlers came out. Kayfabe was broken like a motherfucker. Everyone's coming out. It was for real. There were people legitimately concerned that these two guys were hurt. It happened all the time. We would see people, what was it, WCW? Sid Vicious's leg. Austin getting tombstone on his fucking dome for real. Match continuing on. We used to see guys with broken hands in the ring, with broken legs in the ring, with all kinds of shit. What was it? The Rock had a brace around his neck, taking pile drivers. ECW, the Halo situation with Shane Douglas, when he started dragging Pitbull number 2 around by the fucking Halo. The guy's got a legit broken neck. There were a lot of fucking times back in the day where it went quote unquote too far. That's why you can always tell who the old school fans are, the real old school fans, because they see shit like this past Monday, they don't even think about it. To them, it made sense. To me, it made sense. There's no other time. So I want you guys to take this into consideration when you guys get upset by this stuff. When you saw Dean Ambrose turn and you just fucking felt it. There were people online talking about, oh, Roman Reigns' situation. It made me cry. It made me cry. I got so tearful. And then to see Dean do what he did, it pissed me off. It pissed me off. I'm fucking mad. There are people writing in all caps and angry emojis. Fuck Dean Ambrose or fuck the WWE. That's bullshit. You see that? You feel that? That visceral fucking emotion? That's what we used to have every fucking week. Every fucking week. That's how we used to feel every fucking week. Fuck Vince McMahon for firing Stone Cold Steve Austin. Fuck The Undertaker for trying to crucify Stephanie McMahon. Fuck this and fuck that. That's how we used to get. All the time. And then we got desensitized and now it's not the same. But for you guys are given quite the treat here. Because you guys don't normally get that. And you know you don't. That's why you complain on podcasts like mine about how boring the program is. How predictable, cookie cutter, how mundane Monday Night Raw is. Well, Monday Night Raw gave you something this past week that made you fucking feel. And you didn't know how to register it. That's why I'm not angry. I would love to come on this podcast and just be like, anybody who hated that is a fucking idiot and blah, blah, blah. I would love to, because there's a lot of podcast hosts right now that are out there doing that. I'm not doing that. I have a different approach. What I'm telling you as a New Age fan, embrace this shit. Because that's how pro wrestling is supposed to make you fucking feel. At the beginning of that show, people cried. About halfway through that show, people cheered. Somewhere in the middle there, people were surprised. And at the end, everybody was fucking bad. Those are 4 great fucking emotions to have. Especially from a program that barely ever gives you 1. You got 4 off of this fucking show. Take the fucking W right there, man. Take it. Embrace this shit. Let that shit hit you in the fucking chest. You want to be fucking mad about the writing? Be fucking mad. You want to fucking cheer your best pro wrestler, the wrestler, your favorite pro wrestler? Fucking cheer your fucking asses off. Boo, hiss, call him a bitch, call him the best. Anything you fucking want. Just fucking feel, dude. That's what I took from this fucking Raw. I'm watching this Raw, man, top to bottom, and I was just like, I haven't felt like this in a long fucking time. Now, I would like to say now that the beginning segment with Roman Reigns, and that's a real situation, and it sucks that situation is happening to him. But hindsight being 2020 here, his passion Okay, his passion, Roman's passion for having the ability to get into the ring and not cry and not feel or look weak. The fact that he came out, he gave this announcement, and he did it with strength. And he did it with confidence. I'm going to beat this. This was not a sad moment for Roman Reigns. This was a moment of almost clarity for him. Because I'm sure it's been a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind weekend for him trying to figure out where his life was going and what he was going to end up doing. But I'm 100%, 1,000% sure. When he was standing in that ring on Monday, he was dead set. He knew exactly what the plan was. I'm going to lay this belt down now for now. I'm going to go home. I'm going to rest up. I'm going to get healthy, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to fight. So there was never once a situation of depression or sadness. The whole vibe of that whole promo was strength. And I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but you can kind of feel the vibe of the whole show shift after that announcement. It almost felt like the entire cast and crew was ready to really fucking throw down and have a hell of a kick-ass show. And they fucking did. I felt like everybody on that roster brought it on Monday. It was almost like they did it for him, the locker room leader. They wanted to go. They knew their captain was going on the injured reserve, and they just wanted to do something great for him, and they did. And that was one of the best fucking Raws I've seen in a long fucking time. And I hope the momentum continues. You have a babyface Braun, a babyface Elias. The women are going to be coming off of the Evolution pay-per-view, so you know they're going to be on a high. All right, that roundtable episode, by the way, again, plays this Sunday at noon at ajoum.podbean.com. You can catch the show every Wednesday, 9 p.m. ajoum.podbean.com or many of our other platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Listen Notes, CastBox. It's all over the place. You can catch this show. That episode is going to be airing Sunday at noon. The women are going to be riding high. Okay? Dean's going to be a freshly made heel. You know Seth's going to have a problem with that. There's a lot of fucking things going for this show right now. A lot. Will they drop the ball? They can. They have in the past. This isn't the first time I'm getting excited about a Raw just to see next week turn into another turd. There's a possibility of that, sure. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Because I always give them the benefit of the doubt. Because I love pro wrestling, and I give everybody in pro wrestling the benefit of the doubt. I love it that much. It's in my fucking heart till I die. All right. Speaking of which, right before we go off the air here, there's another quick topic I'm going to hit before I get out of here, and I have to hit it because after everything I just spoke about now, there's no way that I can go any further without mentioning this because after Evolution is Crown Jewel, and for everybody who keeps tagging me to shit concerning Crown Jewel, you're not tagging me to anything useful, okay? I made my statements clear on social media. I spent a chunk of last week's episode on it. It was last week's top news story. It's not going anywhere. It's not getting canceled. I already explained in great detail why it's not being canceled. There are people discussing right now that it might change venue. Yeah, that might be for ticket reasons. It might be easier to consolidate venues and try something smaller so that they can try to make a buck out of it, both the Prince and the WWE. Yeah, sure. But that event's not going anywhere, folks. It just isn't. I'm tired of I don't want to feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I'm keep trying to put this to bed and leave it alone, and everyone keeps tagging me to shit. They're tagging me to shit because they're trying to show me up. They're trying to get me with an aha moment. And to be honest with you, I've been very open about the fact that there's a lot of possibilities, or a lot of ways, I should say, where the Crown Jewel pay-per-view event can be canceled. It just isn't. I leave the door open. There's a great opportunity here for it to not happen. There's contractual loopholes, I'm sure. There's legal backdoor tactics you can do. There's a lot of ways that you can not have the show. But I'm sitting here confidently telling you it's going to happen. As of this recording right now, we are 9 days away from the show because now it's Wednesday morning. It's that deep into the evening. Now it's Wednesday morning. So we're about 9 days away from the show. It ain't going anywhere. They've been promoting it as regular. The only thing they've eliminated is Saudi Arabia. They don't say Saudi Arabia anymore. They just keep saying Crown Jewel, Crown Jewel, Crown Jewel. That's it. That's all they keep saying. The pay-per-view's happening. It isn't going anywhere. And now the next thing people are bitching about is the World Cup. This pay-per-view has an 8-man tournament taking place, which is garbage. You can sit here and talk about the Saudi Arabia factor all you want. This show has a lot more wrong with it than its fucking location. All right? Yeah, it's in a bad spot, in a bad place, surrounded by some probably really bad people. But you know what? If you remove the venue, if you take this pay-per-view and you move it to here, somewhere here in the States or another country that's a little less, dictatory or whatever, this show is still balls. I mean, top to fucking bottom. No Roman Reigns, so that means Brock Lesnar is going to go against Braun Strowman one-on-one. That's an okay monster match for the WWE Universal Championship. We've been there, we've done that. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, they'll give us a decent match. It's not the match all of you think it will be. Stop putting these matchups in your brain and concocting these 5-star New Japan Ring of Honor classics. These two guys are damn near 40. They're not going out there and beating the shit out of each other for 30 minutes for the hopes and joys of 100 people. They're going in front of a large audience on a network, and they're not going out there for 30 minutes. It'll be 10, 12 minutes, high spot, they'll open up with some ground game stuff, a few high spots, and they'll fucking go home and call it a day. Okay? Stop hyping yourself up about this match. I tell you every time, this is a different AJ Styles. This is a WWE champion AJ Styles. Smarter worker, not harder worker. Same thing with Daniel Bryan, Mr. Concussion City. They're going to take their time. That's why they're doing a storyline, so they could do less work. Those are your 2 championship matches for Crown Jewel. Anybody excited yet? Well, tag team match. The Generation X versus the Brothers of Destruction. Triple H and Shawn Michaels reunite. We're going to see Shawn Michaels in the ring again against the Brothers of Destruction. All right, Shawn Michaels is back. Is that enough to get you excited? Maybe, maybe not. Cesaro and Sheamus, the Bar, with the Big Show in their corner, will be competing against the New Day for the WWE Tag Team Champion, WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. That's 4 matches. And then we have the WWE World Cup. It's an 8-man tournament. John Cena, Kurt Angle, Seth Rollins, and Dolph Ziggler representing Raw. Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, The Miz, and Rey Mysterio representing SmackDown. Raw will run its own bracket. SmackDown will run its own. The 2 winners from those brackets both will have a Raw representative and a SmackDown representative competing in the finals. And they will have the opportunity to call themselves the best in the world. God, I am so sick and tired. I'm sick to death of that fucking phrase. Best in the world. So done. So done with it. But moving past that, it's an 8-man fucking tournament. So that's 4 first-round matchups, 2 semis, and 1 final. That is 7 matches. 7 matches. 4, 7. Plus the 4 that I already spoke about. That's 11 goddamn matches for Crown Jewel. That's too many fucking matches. Too many. Too many fucking matches. We're going to be here all fucking day with this. Last time they went to Saudi Arabia, the greatest Royal Rumble, it felt like forever. They were out there wrestling for ages. This one it looks to be even fucking longer. These shows are too fucking long. Too fucking long. Done. I am fucking done. I really am. We have 3 championship matches, an 8-man tournament for literally nothing. They're not competing for anything. Because the winner of this matchup, regardless of who fucking wins it, there's a very good chance nobody within the sound of my voice will truly believe they're the best in the world. And for everybody, well, how do they call it a World Cup and it only has Americans in it? Because those are the ones hired, dumbass. They're not going to fucking go out and hire a bunch of random ass fucking people for a one-off fucking tournament. I know the Cruiserweight Classic had a few names in it, but that's about it. They're not going to promote and push a bunch of random fucking people just because of, I don't know, some fucking random ass tournament. It was just thrown together. It's a fancy... Oh, look at you making fancy noises at me. Shut the fuck up, computer. My computer is telling me to get the fuck off the air because it's running out of battery. Anyway. So we've discussed a lot here. I got a lot of shit off my chest. I actually thought I wasn't going to be able to hit an hour with this material, but I did. So there you go. Yes, so this Sunday, again, I'm going to say it again, this Sunday at noon, ajorum.podbean.com is going to be episode 59, which will be the Evolution Roundtable. And then, of course, next week, episode 60. 60, dude. Whew. 60. Episode 60 will be next week. I gave you all the platforms. I gave you all the time. All you got to do is check those out, and you can keep up with Orsini's Uncensored Mind. If you guys disagree with anything that I said or agree, I don't give a shit. Please feel free to submit some sort of feedback for the show. I love it. Emails, posts, comments, shares, the group. I got a lot of shit going on with this show. Obviously, buy the shirt. Man, I got a lot of shit to run down. I've been cutting back a little bit on this. I've been trying to give you guys a break, but I got to get back in the promo mode. My shirts did well this week, by the way. You guys need to get yourself a shirt, man. Seriously. It's dope stuff. Anyway, big support for the Anawahi family. I'm so sorry to hear you guys going through this stuff. My boys, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the Zoltan, longest reigning WXW C4 Tag Team Champions of all time. That is the company ran by the Anawahi family. So there's always a connection there between me and the Anawahi. So I wish them well. I wish Roman Reigns the best. And keep supporting pro wrestling, guys. I know I speak a lot about the WWE, and that's going to be changing soon. I'm going to be doing a lot more indie stuff coming up. But for the most part, keep supporting pro wrestling. All right, guys? Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for downloading. And, of course, thank you for enjoying. Roundtable this Sunday, bitches. Check it out. Hey, guys. Every Wednesday night at 9 p.m., you guys can go over to ajorum.podbean.com to download the most recent episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. And I am happy to announce that people from over 15 countries have done just that several thousands of times. I am so proud of the success this show has had currently, and I look forward to the future that is so bright. Ooh, I got to wear shades. And if you are a business out there right now looking and entering a sponsorship situation, look no further than Orsini's Uncensored Mind. I've got a ton of fans who are looking to hear all about your service. All you need to do is reach out to me. Send me a message on social media or email me at ajorsini96host@gmail.com, and let's get this buddy system working. I'm here to work for you, and let's make this happen.
Anybody house, listen to my daddy show. Orsini is mine.